Hello, everyone. I am TJ Randolph, and welcome to Mosaic with TJ Randolph. Thanks for coming through. Thanks for coming through. Listen, it's been a minute since I did a pre-recorded video, actually, I think it was live. Yeah, I did. But it's been a minute since I've done my cocktails and conversation. I wanted to do the cocktails and conversations with my mom last Monday. But as you know, the Monday before, or the weekend before, I went to Oklahoma City for my niece's graduation from high school. And while I was there, I was already a little bit under the weather prior to. So came back. And when I was feeling better, guess what? I gave my virus to my mom. So last Monday, she wasn't feeling well. Yeah, I felt horrible about that. So I'm glad to be back with you guys. We got a good show tonight. I'm excited. We got a good show. You see Annie's wearing your Annie slash sister slash uh friend slash whatever. I'm wearing my hair, but it's a little bit kind of limp because I was working out. I got the workout in and it didn't quite dry yet. So bear with me. Okay. Before I get to let me go to say some hellos. As always, shout out to RM, who is the moderator extraordinaire. Okay. Moderator extraordinaire. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Shout out to E Black in the house. Thank you for coming through, bruh. Okay. Hello. Welcome. I haven't seen you before. Welcome to my channel. Awesome. Brittany B. Thank you for the announcements. Shout out to my firstborn nephew, Rhyan Spunk Adams, on the horn, doing his ting. Okay, my firstborn nephew. We're listening to his song Shoreline. You can find him on Apple Music and Spotify, Spunk Adams. Also, you can follow him on Instagram. I am Spunk. Shout out to Micki-Redd Creates, who has done all my digital marketing, and I truly, truly appreciate her, and I appreciate her patience more than anything, because she's trying to push me to do stuff. I'm like, ho. I'm overstimulated. Baby steps, okay? Shout out to my hardworking trucker man, Mr. Randolph, and all of the hardworking truckers on these highways and byways, bringing us our much needed goods. Okay. Shout out. Let me see what else did I say. Okay. I have a couple of things written down here. I'm still in the midst of my birthday celebration. Me and my husband celebrated my birthday slash 3-year anniversary wedding, marriage anniversary. We actually had a wedding in August, but we got married on the 22nd of May 3 years ago. I'm still in celebration mode for several reasons, because on the 21st of May 2021 is when I recorded my first video here on YouTube. So it has been a year, and I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful that I've met so many of you. I'm grateful that you all have supported me, grown me real in instances. I'm just grateful. Hey, shout out to Bolo, nephew, what's up? Welcome, coming on through. Mandrell, hello, sir. Yes. So thank you for coming through. So yeah, I'm still celebrating my birthday. So I have a very special guest. Y'all know who it is, but I'm gonna bring him in just a second. I told him to be patient because I have a couple of things I want to get out. So yeah, it's been a year since I first came to YouTube, and it has been an adventure. I am up to 1,400 subscribers, and I am over the moon grateful. I got me a little check yesterday. Well, actually today, from AdSense. I'm like, ooh, a little spending money. So, so I'm grateful. And since I'm talking about my birthday celebration, I already told you all what Mr. Randolph did for me. He got me a new car, okay? And I told him that I wanted a BMW, but I didn't know if I was going to get it until it pulled up in front of the house on Thursday. A BMW X6. So, and I've told you, I've never had a luxury car. I'm not ashamed to say it on front, but I was so grateful. So we went to dinner on Saturday to celebrate our anniversary, and then we went to dinner last night to celebrate my birthday. But before we went, Mr. Randolph gave me some money and an additional birthday gift, right? So we're at the restaurant and we're talking, and I'm seeing these young men. They're Black young men, but I'm seeing these young men. I think they're bussing tables. I mean, they working, and I'm just paying attention to them. And I'm talking to my husband. I said, have you noticed this young man with the dreadlocks? I said, I'm really, he's hustling. He is grinding. I mean, he's going back and forth, back and forth. He is hustling. He said, yeah. He said, I told our children, when no matter where you're working, do it with fervor, do it with excellence. So as a matter of, so the young man passed by. I said, excuse me, come, can you come here for a minute? And because like I said, he was busting tables, going back and forth, pushing the utensils, plates, whatever. So I said, sir, do you mind me asking, how old are you, sweetheart? He said, I'm 22. I said, I've been watching you. You are working really hard. You about your grind. And I want you to know, you never know who's watching. So I reached into my purse and some of my birthday money my husband had given me. I said, here, I said, take this. I said, you never know who's watching. He said, ma'am, I've got to tell you, you have no idea that this made my day, because I've had a really bad day today. He said, this means so much. So my husband says to the young man, I thought I was giving her the money for her birthday, but God had something else planned, because we happen to be sitting where we're sitting so my wife could pay attention to you going back and forth. And she mentioned to me, this is a hardworking young man. I said, so I'm telling you, even when you don't feel like it, keep grinding. Keep doing excellent service, because you never know who's watching. And he said, I will, ma'am. So that was number one. Next thing, I saw this other man. I said, honey, you see this young man right here? Like, oh, I asked him how old he was. The other one, he was 22. So I said, you see this young man right here? And so he said, yeah, I mean, I'm like, he's busting these tables. I'm like, as soon as they get done, he's on it. He's on it. So I called him over. I said, hey, you mind coming in for a minute? I said, how old are you? He said, I'm 24. I said, my husband said, how long have you been working here? So he said, oh, about a month. I said, you own it. You are on it. I said, I've been just paying attention and surveying how you just, helping people, you own your grind. I reached into my purse again. I said, this is for you. And he looked, he said, thank you. He asked, my name. I said, I'm Mrs. Randolph. Shook my hand, shook Mr. Randolph's hand. He said, thank you so much. I said, you keep doing what you're doing. I said, even when it gets tough, keep doing what you're doing because you never know who's watching. I felt so good because I remember what it was like to be that age, busting tables, being a waitress. My dog is going off. Please forgive me. he's going off. But, sometimes you think the work that you're doing, nobody gives a damn, especially like if you busting tables or waiter or whatever, they treat you like garbage. I remember what that was like too. Okay. People think that you're beneath them. So I said, hey, this is for you. So I'm sharing this with you guys so you can share that with somebody else too. Okay. Okay. So that's two. Okay. Now, and with, I'm going back to my mom, my 2022 graduates. I'm not going to show the picture, but I'm going to tell you, I have a picture of my niece and my mother, both 2022 graduates. My mother and her youngest grandchild graduated this year. My niece graduated from high school, and my mother graduated from Fayetteville State HBCU with her bachelor's degree. Okay. Yes, indeed. Let me say if you. Okay. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Angela. Ring a ding ding. Hey, you stupid. Now listen. Arthur Stovall is my daughter's godfather, and we have been friends for over 30 plus years. So you can be friends with a male, okay, and have it be platonic. You understand me? Listen. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, hey, let's get down. Okay. A couple of things. I'm going to groove. I'm going to bring Chef in a minute, but I need to introduce him. And because he can groove with me, I know I want to see him grooving in the background, but I'm gonna play this song for you, and I hope it don't get stricken. But I got to do it. I got to go ahead and do it because that's how I was feeling. I've been crying all weekend, tears of joy for Mr. Randolph. Okay, because listen, this song I'm gonna play for you. I'm gonna go ahead and introduce Chef really quick because he gonna jam with me. Born in Brooklyn, New York, to Haitian immigrant parents, Chef Hpnotiq's life has been an adventure, a high-level achiever and creative. He joined the music industry at a young age as a member of the hip-hop icon Special Ed's tour creative team. Eventually, he was pulled from his second year of college to work as a creative within the Epic Records Sony Music Urban Music department. He was only 19 years old at the time. In this role, he was responsible for maximizing artist visibility at media venues with major concentration on retail and radio. Okay. He was also directly involved in tracking and securing major positive movement of label products on Sound Sand and Billboard charts. Maintained a role as a direct liaison between the record label and several hundred retail record stores when we had record stores nationally. Okay. Chef was directly responsible for the sales and marketing success of all artists on the roster. He was promoted to national project manager and a part of a promotion and public relations team responsible for the brand management of specific projects, as well as overseeing $15 million to $30 million in marketing, promotion, and publicity budgets. You need to go on and recognize. Okay. Chef was part of a team that garnered success from the multi-platinum selling Michael Jackson Dangerous album, Luther Vandross's multi-platinum Power of Love CD, Sade's multi-platinum Love Deluxe CD, the Free Willy soundtrack, Pearl Jam's diamond-selling 10 CD, and 2 consecutive platinum and Grammy Award winning reggae legend Shabba Ranks. You need to go on and know what time it is. He was utilized for the prep marketing and product launch dynamics for new artists and promotions with respect to the vertical marketing at retail and radio. Let's get down to it. In the late 90s, as part of the quote unquote Dollar Cab Lab recording studios owned by Special Ed, Chef worked with multiple artists, notably Notorious B.I.G., Junior Mafia, Tupac. Okay. Eventually, Chef moved to Atlanta and became known behind the scenes as a tastemaker, as marketing director and creative manager for the Kitchen Studio, responsible for some of the greatest hits in Atlanta hip hop and R&B music. He also currently uses talents for moving, growing, and protecting people as an executive, hiring manager, and diversity officer and executive mentor for top 7 global corporations. Within the last 5 months, his YouTube live stream Chef has averaged nearly 200 subscribers per month based on the content that he shares with the YouTube community. Chef is also, there's more. Chef is also starring in a voice-over role for the acclaimed live graphic novel Life or Death, directed by Emmy Award-winning filmmaker Frank B. Gooden II. He plays the role of Bus, a highly intelligent, strategic, but troubled head of criminal organization. Whoa, that's a lot. Who knew? Who knew? Who knew? You understand me? Without further ado, we're gonna bring Chef Hpno to the stage. Okay.
Hello. Wow.
Hello, Chef.
Man, listen, all I know is I'm going to make sure I put it in the will of my living trust that you speak at the funeral. Because, man,
You're crazy.
my mama hit me up like, is she talking about you? Yeah, no, I'm joking. But no, I appreciate the love. What's going on? And let me show you.
Ain't nothing to it the way you do it.
Hey,
okay, so what we drinking tonight, Chef?
Sipping on a Moscow Mule, vodka, triple sec, you know what I'm saying? And some ginger beer,
Okay.
Mix it just right.
I am sipping on a Hpnotiq Margarita. Please drink responsibly. I put the ingredients in the description. Chef, you heard me talking about this has been a birthday / anniversary weekend for me.
Happy birthday, happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Happy.
Okay, so I didn't share my love story with the folk. And I've been crying all weekend, tears of joy, because at 51, I met my husband. All right. Understandably, I knew that there was a possibility that I might not get married, or I might not know what it was like to have that kind of love. What's up, cruise season in the house?
Hey. My man Trill. What up, Trill?
Yeah. So check it out. We're gonna do a little jam. I need to do it because this is for my husband. Because There have been talk about in this manosphere space, that women have said that they don't need any men. Okay, we're gonna get to that. But what I needed more than anything was somebody to take care of my heart. Mr. Randolph has done it. So because you are a music aficionado, I don't know if you've heard this song. I'm gonna take you back to the early or the mid 80s. My girl Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston with Jermaine Jackson. Take good care of my heart. Okay, I want y'all to groove with us. Put some hand claps, some whatsoever emojis up in here. We're gonna do this thing. Okay, here we go. Can y'all hear that?
I don't know if they're ready for that one.
Time can pass so slowly when you feel so all alone. Love can strike like lightning when you find your heart a home.
Get it now.
I've seen it in the movies, read about it in a book. I never thought I'd feel it, but your touch was all it took. Take good care of my heart.
Hey.
Take good care of my heart. Baby, you're the first to take it. You're the only one who can bring it. I love you more than I should, but it keeps me feeling so good.
Hey, that's what I'm saying to Mr. Randolph. Hey, what y'all know about this? What you know about it?
I don't think they know enough.
Till you had me hypnotized. Breathe closer, I'll be drowning in your eyes. You're the one I needed most when my love was on that line. I'm so glad you gave me yours when I gave you mine. Take good care of my heart. Take good care of my heart. Baby, you're the first to take it. You're the only.
I'm trying to grow y'all to some real music now.
I love you more than I should.
Hey.
But it keeps me feeling so good. I'm waiting for your love forever. You're the one to take care of my heart.
You hear that? You better hear that horn. You better hear that horn. Hey. You better move them shoulders, Chef. You better move them. Hey.
Oh, you're doing the 80s rock. That's the one. That's the one with the hands like that. Yeah. Right. That looks like somebody shimmy.
Yes. Yes. All right. I just had to give y'all that because, again, I've been crying all weekend. Tears of joy. You understand me? And I'm offering this because I want to be an encouragement. Nothing is guaranteed in this life. Nothing. But if you get your mind right, get to know you, flaws and all, and be honest, yeah, it can happen for you too. Listen, okay. Chef.
Yes.
You got layers. You got layers.
Yeah, kind of like an onion, just without the oniony fragrance.
So tell us a little bit about yourself other than what I read. Talk to me, tell me something.
I think I'm a somewhat unusual dude. Somewhat unusual dude. Not that I'm better than anybody else, but I just think that it's perspectives. I've seen a lot. I've been a lot. I've been through a lot growing up in the city streets of Brooklyn, New York. It was a rough place, especially coming up during the time that we did. So it was always a fine dance between trying to live happiness and then also survival. There was always that specter of trouble that was always in the wings. So the weird thing is understanding who I was and the people I was around, and the blessings from my creator that I was able to navigate those different realms and still maintain a certain degree of balance. You know, so,
So even though I read your profile, what inspired you to go into music? You always had a love for music, or what?
I always had a love for music, and then growing up on Church Avenue, a lot of us in the East Flatbush section, it was one of the places in Brooklyn and in New York where all of the different Caribbean communities converged on each other: Puerto Ricans, Jamaican, Haitian, Trinidadian, Guyanese, St. Lucian, so many different countries, and we all came into one area. And in the area within a few blocks, and in the high school that we went to, there was a lot of artists, that went to our high school. I was an artist at the time as well, and I was a part of a crew. We performed. I was part of a group called Lost Tribe. We used to be on a tour and did national tour with Ice Cube years ago. But Special Ed, Busta Rhymes, Chub Rock, Queen
Mm.
Pen, all of these people grew up literally within the same few blocks of each other. Um, the people that used to do our block parties in the summertime, it was the Anthony brothers. Who were the Anthony brothers? That was Full Force. You remember
Ooh,
Full Force, the brothers from the security
yes,
guards from House Party. So they used to
yes.
actually do our block parties. Howie T, Hitman Howie T was the one that was DJing, and we would have Lisa and Cult Jam before they even got signed,
Stop,
performing at our block parties. You know,
stop. Lisa, and Culture, head to toe. Okay,
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. So there was a lot of music. Kid Fresh, one of the guys from Two Live Crew, the Asian looking brother. He actually went to our high school as well. Uh, cool DJ Clark Kent. So there was always a high degree of music and entertainment and creativity that was floating within that realm, within that region. So music was always it just would always find itself somewhere into my purview. You know, Ed got signed when we were 16. So we went on the road.
16?
Special Ed got signed. Yeah, if you ever get a chance, if you go on YouTube and you go pull up Special Ed Unsung, I was actually on that particular show discussing, his life and what we dealt with. But we went on tour when he was 16. We were 16 years old. So imagine in the late 80s being on tour, and we're on tour with LL Cool J, Public Enemy, performing at the Apollo and seeing 1,000 people screaming for your buddy, and it was insane. It was insane. But to keep a long story short, what I did was I paid attention to the label execs, because the funniest thing, you had LL where all the ladies were going crazy for him, all these different artists who all the fans go crazy for. But when that guy in the suit walked into the room, that sarcastic ass dude with the suit walked into the room, even the big artists would defer to him. And it was really interesting. And you'll have 3, 4 entourages, 50, 60 people. And this guy's pulling out, back then it was the gold card before the platinum came. He was pulling out the gold card, corporate card, and paying for everybody. So what I started doing was, because of Ed's tour, I ended up graduating 6 months late from high school, right?
Hmm.
But went to college, and I started interning in college because I still wanted to get to that behind the scenes. And that was a whole nother experience because as an intern, at a label like Epic Records, I was the guy getting copies, getting the coffee, doing the grunt work. But then when their artists would pop up and see me and dap me up and give me a hug, they're like, how do you know this guy? And they're like, this is Pop. Pop is my nickname. They're like, yo, this is Pop. I met him on tour. And then they understood my connection to the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And that connection is one of the reasons also, too. We got Shabba Ranks signed to the label. That was the first reggae artist with a major deal. And at that time, I was 18. I was put in charge of his college promotion and college radio, so all of the big shows. And he ended up going double platinum, got the Grammy. So that was my first Grammy project. And then we did the same thing the following year. Worked the Free Willy soundtrack, Sade Love Deluxe, Babyface, Babyface, Tender Lover remix album, Luther Power of Love. I was there. I helped sign Groove Theory, which is Mel LaRue and Bryce Wilson. They had that song called Tell Me. So it was a lot that I dealt with at a young age, and I was just able to see it, and be able to kind of create different vibes from what I see to make something greater.
So you said something that really resonated with me, and I think that's kind of what Puff or P Diddy talked about, how he started in the industry, basically doing the grunt work. I forget who the guy was.
Yeah, I know. Did he was what it was? That was when he was still Puffy, when he was still Puff Daddy. He was actually an intern for Andre Harrell at Uptown Records.
Right.
So I remember the time we were both interns at the same time, and we were both dancers back in the day. And I remember he used to be out there, shining Andre Harrell, rest in peace, shining Andre's Rolls Royce, and then he took it up a next level when Uptown, got under MCA. But a lot of people, we all started like that, same way as Pac. How I met Pac, the initial time, he was still MC New York. When we met Pac, this was on tour, and he was actually a roadie with Digital Underground.
Oh my God!
That's how, right? So that's how early, Pac came into the mix.
So, given that, what do you think about now? Because you heard me talk about those two young men that I saw in the restaurant yesterday, even though it's not the music industry. But what do you think about young people who really don't want to do the grunt work anymore? They want to just be on top out the gate. So when I see young men like I saw yesterday, that is inspiring to me because my mom always taught me an honest day's work for an honest day's pay. So what do you think about, because there's a different mentality now, and of course, obviously, the music industry is very different, but I think it was more than the music industry from what I'm hearing from you. It instilled in you a strong work ethic and a dedication to whatever you were going to be doing.
Yeah, I think work ethic is critically important in terms of the folks that I manage, and its managers, and those managers have direct reports that, a bunch of people, frontline employees that report to them. What's funny when I think about, I'll say my generation versus this one, my generation used to beg for overtime. My generation was the generation of you show up early and then you leave late. You beg for overtime, you fight for it. I think this new generation, because everything is so immediate gratification based, at this point, people, they buck when it comes to overtime. I don't believe that the work ethic is ingrained enough, and some of it comes by nature and some comes by nurture. It's something that has to be trained, but if you have the right set of OGs, if you have the right people that you look up to, that you're getting your information from, I think that has a positive impact on how you move. If you're a stagnant person, complacent, but then your OGs are some get up and go, like, come on, young man, let's go. It's gonna move your needle in the right direction, but if you don't have that guidance, plus you have that inner laziness, it's gonna keep you where you at. It's gonna keep you where you at. That work ethic, it's not the same. And I don't want to take away from the young folks.
Right.
Why? Because they could push back and say, well, shut up, chef. We have figured out ways to monetize and create wealth in ways that your generation had no clue about. And we
True.
can do it sitting on our hands. We can use this little thing here and make millions of dollars and not leave the car. So what are you talking about?
Old
Laziness.
man.
Right. Oh man, we created automation. You know,
Right.
they're gonna say, yeah, oh man, you keep getting up and go turn in the TV while I sit down and use the remote. So it's understanding the balance between those dynamics, but still being able to bend when it's necessary. We as older folks should be able to bend and utilize the technology and some of the things that our youth have put forth to make it easier for us.
Yeah.
But by the same token, I think they have to understand how to move if there happens to be a blackout for 3 or 4 days, how to move outside of the metaverse.
Okay, you said something there, and I'm gonna tell you why. And you make a very good point. There it has to be a melding or meshing of the two. Because my mom said something to me that I hadn't even thought about. If we lost power, we can't get into the metaverse. People don't even know the directions, northeast, north, south, east, and west. Whereas that growing up, I had to know my direction, and I still it's just certain things that are inherent. I can I can orient myself to where I am because I know which direction is east, which direction is west. So
Right.
those things are very important. If there were certain, you never know what you don't know what you don't know. But I think those things are very important. And also, what I think is important too is tenacity. And like you said, some young people may say, well, we are tenacious because we can do this behind, we don't have to get up and do all this stuff and go to these places, walk down the street. We can do it from our phone. But conversely, there's something to be said about the face to face knocking on doors, because I remember, again, as a young person like yourself, I thought I wanted to be a lawyer. So what did I do? I went and volunteered to be a receptionist at a law firm. Who's gonna turn down free work?
Right.
So I said, well, can I volunteer? Because they said, well, we don't have any openings right now. I said, well, can I volunteer my time? I just want to be. And so I did volunteer. And when a position came open, I was right there to get it. But I was willing to do something for nothing because I knew I would get something out of it eventually, even if it was nothing more than experience.
Yeah. That reminds me of my first job. I remember when we had these things called working papers. At the
Mm-hmm.
age of 14 in New York, you were able to get your working papers. It was a card that was allow you to start working. So when it came time
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning of the summer, you would see like a mile long line down the block where you would go to get your working papers. I got my working papers, and I literally walked from downtown Brooklyn, Flatbush Avenue, near the Brooklyn Bridge, right? And Flatbush Avenue is one of the longest single streets in the United States, all right? And I
Okay.
literally walked, I would say 12 to 15 miles down Flatbush Avenue from Flatbush, literally from Brooklyn Bridge all the way down to Kings Highway, if anybody knows where that is. And I went door to door, store to store, trying to get a job, literally. And it was a sense of pride. I had that card in my pocket and I walked in like, I was, it was one of those things. I think, that in terms of my manhood, we don't always, as brothers, we don't in our culture have coming of age, coming of age ceremonies, kind of like the Judaic folks with the bar mitzvahs and the bat mitzvahs.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we as men, we in our culture, sometimes we have to find our own point of inference to say, yes, I did it. And not just getting a woman pregnant. You get what I'm saying? So
Yes.
so it was like, yes. And I remember having that card and I literally was not tired. My feet didn't hurt. my feet didn't hurt. I just went place to place. And finally, the last place was the pharmacy around the corner from my house. So basically, I could have just took the bus home and then started from there. But the last place was my first job, which was a pharmacy. And I was 14 years old. And I think being able to do that, it built something within me.
You say something, you know, Chef, we are a lot alike because I had my first job, and I will never forget. My first job was at Baskin Robbins at 14. But again, to what we were talking about, I'm so grateful for the automation and the technology that we have that does make our life easier. In addition to that, though, I'm grateful for the old school lessons I learned, i.e., how to count money.
Right.
I remember working at Baskin Robbins. My boss would make me count the money back to the employee and to the customer. Don't just put it in their hand. I had to count it back to them. And I still remember how to do that. And it's so funny to me when I see people that are so reliant upon the computer to tell them how much to give it back because because they don't know how to count money. So, but again, that's a source of pride for me because again, it was those life lessons that brought me to where I am now. Okay, we're gonna change lanes. I need to know something. Where does the name Chef come from?
So the name Chef, that was actually a name that was given to me by several chefs that I've cooked with and that viewed my cooking. And, it's a long story. Am I a culinary school trained chef? No, I'm not. I'm self-taught. When did I start cooking? At about 7 years old, when my grandmother literally showed me how to make steak and eggs. And from there, rest in peace. And from there, I started studying. I started reading cooking books. I was reading from a young age, reading Julia Child. I started being on PBS and watching Julia Childs, watching Paul Prudhomme, watching Justin Wilson, watching my favorite Asian food chef. His name was Martin Yan. He had the show called Yan Can Cook. All right.
Okay.
He's the guy that used to make music, make beats with the knives banging on the table. And I just kept watching, and I started to get a passion. And it taught me about some of the basics. It taught me about the mother sauces. It taught me about flavor profiles. It taught me about some of the different subtle nuances of cooking and understanding the food. And I started trying. And one of the things that I tried the most was with eggs. Those were the ones that the adults felt safe enough for me to play with, was the eggs, So I had multiple renditions of eggs, learned some lessons. One of them was tuna eggs. That one fell off the menu way early.
Okay, hold up, stop. Tuna eggs.
I was a kid. That's what I said. That one fell off the menu way early. That was a no-go. That was a no-go. It did, they say throw it at the wall to see what sticks. It didn't stick. That was one of the failures. I'll never try again. Now, but I transitioned smoked salmon with eggs. Now that's a difference. Something as simple as the texture of the meat, the flavor profile, how delicate it is, the intensity of it, and then how it interacts with the egg itself.
Mm-hmm.
That's way different than some old canned tuna and eggs. So I learned a lot about it, and then eventually people started asking me to pay for my services.
That was my next question. So you do catering and all that kind of stuff, or
yeah? So here's what I do, because when I cook, it's a passion. In terms of what I do, I'm a corporate America guy, but the chefing is what I do. That's my passion. If I was president, if I was Chef Obama, you'd see video of me on CNN, out at the smoker grilling on the White House lawn. That's one of my things. So I don't market my services, but there's people that request my services and I hook it up, and it's all based on passion. I do it because I want to. There's several people in the YouTube realm that I've done it for, and I don't do it to go and make a whole bunch of money. I'm actually doing it. I have to feel you. I have to feel the event. And when you discuss what it is that you're looking for, then I go and utilize my creativity and try to put something together for you.
To that point, you did that for E Black. Shout out to E Black TV.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Tell them about what
y-
you did for E Black.
yeah. That sneaky mofo. So right. So what it was, we were all going to be in Houston for the La Peep event that was going on. So initially, I was going to be at his crib, but we decided now we're going to go stay directly in Houston. He lives around an hour out. So we getting ready to leave, and then he pulls in front of this spot called HEB. I don't know what this place is. He's like, "Oh yeah, let's stop in here for a minute, chef." And we walk in there, and I'm like, "Okay, it's a supermarket." He's like, "Yeah, man. So I was thinking, hook something up for wifey." I'm like, "Oh, you mother." Right.
Surprise!
So he lured me into my happy place. So, before we took off to head into Houston, I ended up putting together some jerk salmon fillets, and some grilled lobster tails. Yeah, it was some real sesame herb lobster tails. It was pretty nice.
I saw the pictures.
Oh yeah.
It
That's
was
right.
quite mouth watering. And it's funny as you're talking, I'm like, wow, I wish I would have thought about this earlier because I could have made arrangements to have you do that for Mr. Randolph for Father's Day. But I'm like, you're a father too, so you don't want to be cooking on Father's Day.
Well,
But
there's things called dry ice. You figure it out.
yeah, I might have to, yeah, because I like to surprise Mr. Randolph here and there, with some things for his birthday. I hired a chef to come to our house and prepare an intimate dinner for two for his birthday.
I saw that
So,
setup. That was dope.
you
That
know,
was
you know,
that was a nice setup. Look, I was like, oh man, look, do you realize what you showed? You had a few sisters around the country getting side eyes from their dudes after you put that one together. That was dope.
I'm trying to help him. Listen, hey, boy, I know what I got. I told Mr. Randolph, I said, I'm grateful to your ex-wives because you minds. And I'm gonna I'm gonna do what's never to show you how much I appreciate you.
Yeah,
So
that's one thing. I know I'm on the show, but I got to throw some of the flowers back at you. One of the things that's extremely important is when we're giving lessons or when we're correcting people or holding them accountable for their activities. I think that it falls flat on its face and it means nothing if you're judging the moves someone made without providing some better antithetical or alternative option for them. If I tell you what you did was wrong and you shouldn't have done this, you shouldn't have done this, you shouldn't have done that, then I should be able to have the right thing to do, right? The alternative action that would have made it a better move. So you're not just talking about what sisters are not doing in the spaces. What I see you're doing is you're also showing them what you should be doing. And the way that you honor your husband it's not contrived. It's not contrived. It's not put together. When you talk, when you speak about him, the way you blink, the way your head twists to the side, the way you can't contain your smile, it's obvious. And you're showing the impacts that he has on you. When you tell the story about the car when he was driving that 2001 Expedition, and I remember that story. And, and on the first date, you kind of looking at him crazy, like, we driving in this. You want to take my car? And he's like, nah, we'll take this. I remember
yeah,
that story. But then in the end now, you were able to stay in pocket and utilize your work ethic, not just your desires. And in the end, you look back now, that same man with the 2001 beater, right, was the same individual that gave you your first luxury car. You understand what I'm saying? So, and I'm not trying to take you there, but the thing is, what that shows, that was your graduation. That was not just your gift from him. That was your gift from your creator because he knew what you needed. And what he did was he put this man in a place where you can see it, but not within the box or the gilded golden chariot that everybody would expect to find it. Remember, I always use this statement. Even Jesus came in. Jesus came in riding a donkey.
Yeah.
You know, so you earned that. You know what I mean? You earned that.
Okay, you did it. I appreciate it. I just get emotional because Angela Michelle, we had lunch earlier this week. We were talking, and she started crying too. She said, "Yeah, listen, you know, yeah, And we on yesterday, we were talking, and I said it seemed like we've been together much longer. We've been married for 3 years, but we've been together coming up on 4 years. And I said it seemed like we've been together much longer than that.
You have.
And he said,
You've been together much longer. The thing is, you're together was you're building in two separate areas. But the thing is, the path was always laid out. It was just for you and him to screw it up. You get what I'm saying? But
"Yes,
y'all followed the path. So you guys were already together. But then now you've joined. So it's a different kind of together because you built your life and your nature and nurture. It built you to the place that you become as a woman, as an empowered woman, as a hero of our military. His existence also made him someone that was able to also not worry about the flash and all of that and really focus on what's important to him. So
yeah,
both of you were growing for the same purpose. It's just that now at this time in your lives, some people find it earlier, some people have to force it. But at this point in your lives, you guys are both able to appreciate each other way more than you might have been able to do at 25 or 26.
yes."
So
I said when we were talking, I said, everything that we've gone through in our lives was preparing us to be right here where we are. And it's, exactly, it's funny because it's almost exactly what you said. I said, we were growing independently before we met, and then we're still growing together as a couple. And so I share what I share because, again, like I said, nothing is guaranteed, but and I've shared that, I needed to be better for me first. And by becoming better for me, it enabled me to definitely be good for him. And also, like you said, to recognize him and not get my own way. Because you said it was already laid out. It was for us to mess it up. So my messing it up would have been if I would have just looked at the 2001. I'm like, that would have been me messing it up, right?
right.
So, chef,
Talk to me.
okay. Now you're chef. You're chefing. Have you used the chefing to woo? Did you use it to woo your wife?
Okay, so the chefing. I don't. It's funny. Not really. Not really. Everybody knows me as because so my fiance, she and I met at work. She originally was my boss. So I was
Oh,
already the chef guy at work. I was the one that would bring, a few pounds of pulled pork or pulled chicken into the office. At one point when I was one of the people running the office, we used some of the money to get smoker grills out back. So, sometimes at the center we'd have impromptu grilling sessions. So the cooking was always something that was just one of my things. Even on the dating scene, me being able to cook and the kitchen being what I would consider one of my man caves, it eliminated cooking as a prerequisite for a woman.
okay.
So I will say that I didn't use it to woo women, but it was one of those things that took a little bit of pressure off the woman because I knew that I knew how to cook myself and I knew that I understood how to cook at a high level. So that was a pressure that they didn't have.
Okay, so I've seen some of the stuff that you post on your page, and so now I understand. Because I was wondering, like, did he go to culinary school? But you just have a natural talent for these creations. And I guess it's funny because you're a creative in the music industry and you're also creative when it comes to culinary skills. So I see some paintings behind you. Do you do painting also?
No, those are not my paintings. Those paintings are actually a couple of paintings that you're gonna be seeing some more of them. But there's a painter that I'm working with that's commissioning a few different pieces that you guys will be seeing. I'll leave it at that.
And speaking of creative, I have something I want to show that was just brought to my attention. So we're just going to watch this really quickly and we're going to come back and discuss it, okay?
Sure. Man, you guys are doing, y'all doing some research. Your team is crazy. Yeah. Your team is crazy.
Surprise! So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about this, sir.
All right. So basically, what you just seen was Maison Chupino. Maison means home of, and Chupino. For the record, my name is not Chupino. Chupino was actually a nickname that was given to me by my grandmother. So,
Okay.
you know, and it was my father's nickname, and then I assumed his nickname. So, Maison Chupino, House of Chupino. And what it is, it's a high-end shoe line that I've created and designed some pretty nice designs. The shoes are actually manufactured in Shoe Valley in Italy, in Milan. And what I've done is I've partnered with a particular company where it gives me the opportunity to create innovative, unique designs utilizing high-end materials. But then I'm also able to leverage the industrial shoe manufacturing system within Italy. So when you say made in Italy, it's not a fraud. It's high-end materials, high-end Italian leathers, Italian suedes. And right now there's two, right now it's a capsule collection. So there's two shoes. One is the Maison Chupino, and the other one is actually the Zaire Guillaume, which is named after my son.
Oh,
So,
wow.
it's, those are not the shoes where you're just gonna throw them on. You can throw them on with some jeans, but especially the low tops, those are one of my favorites. Those are the ones that you can wear with some nice tapered, plaid tapered pants and a nice, white V-neck and a blazer. They have different applications. The high tops, I know the high tops are going to be definitely a favorite because you can't really see from that image. I'm going to give you one with better resolution. The high tops are actually Italian leather and suede. So the purple part on the high tops are actually suede, and
Okay.
the red parts are leather. You know, so what's happening is I'm going to be opening up the store literally at the beginning of June. I pushed it back a little bit because I wanted to check on a couple of the prototypes. So I had gotten prototype, sent it back. So at this point, I'm just waiting for the final prototype just for a fix. And then they're going to be on sale. And the beauty of it is it's going to be drop shipping. So the manufacturer and the factory actually will be able to ship directly to where you are across the globe without me having to sit and attach labels and do all of that. But the shoes are extremely high quality. I could say that.
So, okay, Angela said, I need those high tops. She said, I'm serious. Now, Angela Michelle, she was on my show about a month ago. She is a fashionista in her own right. Okay. Um, So when she says she needs them, she's serious. she's serious. So will we? So it'll be an online store.
Yes, it's actually going to be online store. So you'll be able to see the designs. You'll be able to pick your size. You'll be able to see what they look like. You'll be able to see digital mock-up of it as well. I just have the store offline right now until I want to make sure just these last prototypes are correct. Once I see everything is the way that I want it to be, because my name is going to be on there, you know, I want to make, then I'm going to open the store and it's going to be a free-for-all. I do have, what's funny is I do have a lot of what I'll say verbal pre-orders, you know. So let's see what happens once it hits the market.
So what made you decide that you wanted to do this? Is this something you've always been thinking about? What inspired this shoe collection?
I'm a weird dude. I'm I'm a weird dude. Listen, I still write, you know, there's one of the things that I didn't, you know, that my bio doesn't have is that, you know, I'm a ghostwriter too. So, you know, I've written certain songs that still attached to a couple of NDAs, but I write, you know, I was a rapper before. So I still write. I literally still write each week. I come up with hooks, but not only do I do that, I fly drones, you know, I build I build guns also as a hobby. I like paintball, you know,
Wow.
it's just my brain, it works in a way where, you know, it has to be stimulated. So I learned new things. And there was one day when I came across this company and I started reviewing it and I was looking, and I know that I have a unique sense of style. You know, my shtick when I'm doing the nighttime shows, and my hoodie and, you know, and the baseball cap and the shades. But if anybody's met me outside of the four boxes on the screen, you see, I dress pretty decently. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah, yeah,
know,
yeah.
I do the red bottoms. I do, you know, I'm more of a smooth guy in a suit than I am, you know, the hoodie stuff. So I started looking and I said, you know what? Let me check this out. And I tested myself and I started doing some sketches and then of what I wanted a high-end shoe that I would wear to look like.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like wearing stuff that everybody else wears. So what I did was I went into the design tool and I started playing around with it. And I was like, yo, this is how I want it to look. Yeah, that's my sis, Dawn Frank. She knows, she knows, you know. And it was like, let me play with this. How would I want it to look, you know, how chic it would be. And everybody likes Jordans. And I'm a sneakerhead. I have, you know, even my worn Jordans, the ones that I have, I'm close to 10K in terms of value of my Jordan collection. That's just
What?
some of it. Some of it is because of the fact that they're rare, and I have what's called rare dead stock Jordans. I'm a sneakerhead too, so I pick up these hobbies and these things. That's why people think that I'm smart. I'm not really smart. I just absorb a lot of information, and what people would call useless information, I just file it back well enough that I'm able to make it useful somewhere down the line. I ain't all
That's
that
smart.
smart. It's
That
just a
that's
parlor
smart.
trick.
That's smart to be able to apply it, pull it out, and apply it. That would be smart.
Okay, it's a parlor trick.
Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you this. What brought you to YouTube?
Hmm. Ah, it gets real.
Okay.
It gets real. It gets real.
Okay, let's do it.
There was literally a line that I used to use in the beginning was like, yo, you guys don't even realize how much I appreciate you. I used to say this is therapy. So the job that I deal with, it's a high stress level job. There's heavy quotas. You know, it's you're chasing numbers a lot. It's a high stress job. They pay well. They pay well, but it's a high stress job. And this is during the time of the most morbid time during the pandemic. People were dropping all around us, family members, one of our co-workers. It was a lot of stress going on. I was stressed out. Eventually my director, he came to me and he was like, bro, your vibe is a little off and you're my top performer. And he said that, I see that you're being impacted by a lot of the stuff we're seeing and what's going on. He said, I want you to know that we as brothers, and it was a black man, he said, we as brothers take a lot of stress on our shoulders and we just keep going. We don't take enough of ourselves. He said, listen, if you want to take a leave, brother, I'll give you a leave. You could take 2 months, 3 months. I need you, the person that you normally are. And I would be remiss if I allowed you to just keep working and working for me without giving yourself a chance. And even my lady was like, yo, you need to, I was stressed out and I was always on go, always. And it was having an impact on me, and literally he and I, like, to the point where he got choked up, like, yo, it's okay. He had that moment. Imagine your boss's boss telling you, yo, take a break, man. It's good, man. We got you. And I took the leave. And what I did was I ended up saying, you know what? I got a therapist. I went and I talked to the therapist and we were on the phone. It was virtual and we were on the computer for about 2 hours. And after she heard everything and I gave her my catharsis, I let it all out. She said, this is what I want you to do. This was her prognosis. She said, before we meet again, I want you to go do something. Do whatever you want to do. But I don't want it to be related to making money, supporting family, being intentional, or all of that stuff you were saying. I want you to just do it because it makes you feel good. If it's sitting in the park for 3 hours and then sitting in the library for 4, or going to the movies by yourself, whatever it is, I want you to start doing that. And then that day, at night, what happened? This guy named KWK actually started his first stream ever that night. And E Black was on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, snap. And I jumped onto it, literally, that night. And then Darrell jumped onto it. And that was the first show ever on that network. By the end of the show, KWK sent me his number, and literally he called it the 4 Horsemen. And he wanted me to be a part of the show.
Mm-hmm.
We did streams every single night for 39 days straight. Why? Because on the 40th day I was going to have to go back to work, and he wanted to make sure that there was enough of me cooking on there too for us to have enough content. The leave ended up getting extended, right? But
Mm-hmm.
so we got it out the mud every single night, and that was how I started YouTube, literally. I didn't do anything on my page until November 21st. I created my page in late October and didn't put anything out until November 21st. But literally, my beginnings as a content creator was helping create that particular channel. I'm not to talk about mess or anything like that, but I want to talk about the positive aspect, because I definitely was able to learn a lot. There's people that are out there that do a lot of pre-recorded content and uploads, which are dope, but they always say, man, I can't do those live streams. Live streams are how I first got it, and it was every day. So I'm kind of glad that I was able to get the live stream situation going. But
since it was, you kind of found YouTube through this process of basically therapy, was it able to provide you
I think you froze.
Am I there?
I think you froze up a little bit. I wonder if it's me. Yeah, you froze up a little bit. Can you repeat that last question?
Yes, it was me. When you found YouTube, was it able to provide you with what your therapist told you to do.
Yeah. Because what it was when I say gave me a voice, I always had a voice. But what it is when you in corporate America, everybody's gonna kiss up to the boss. Everybody's gonna laugh at the boss's jokes. Or you have to figure out who's really laughing, who really thinks it's funny, or who's just kissing up. This is a new environment where people are brutal and brutally honest. And if they don't like you, they'll tell you about yourself. And what was crazy was just me just simply communicating how I felt, my perspectives, and how I saw things. And I was like, damn, people like it. And then they started saying, chef is cooking. I was like, oh, snap, chef is cooking, you know? So what it did was it made me feel like, yo, bro, you still got something to say. Bro, you still got a voice. Bro, there's people out there that don't have to get paid for them to sit down and listen to what you have to say. There's some of them folks that work with you that's only going to sit and listen to what you have to say when they're on the clock.
Because they have to.
Right. You know, and something as simple as someone sending me a freaking Cash App, because I'm not monetized, but somebody sending me a Cash App, you know, and it doesn't matter how big it is, you know.
Right.
When Joanna Washington sends you that $5 Cash App, I don't care. That is big to me.
Me
because
too.
I know that sister is pushing and struggling and pushing her taco truck, you know what I mean, where she is. And then she takes that moment to send you $5. It's major.
Yes, it is.
You know, when you got dudes like the boy ZB, who's one of my, Joanna, the boy ZB, you know what I mean? And Big Bad Bull.
Yes.
And Ron P. Okay, Ron P and his wife, Mrs. P, Luminous Body Essentials. Those folks are what I would say my biggest regular contributors to the channel. And I'm not even monetized. So when I see that, that's what puts pressure on me. Because it's like, damn, yo, they already tipped me. So now I got to make this steak taste good. Damn. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, man, see? Okay. But that's a good thing. That's a good thing. You know what I mean? Hey, Courtney Michelle.
Thank you.
What it do?
You know, you said a mouthful because, as you know, I've shared with you, I came here a year ago, kind of in the same as a way of therapy, because after going through having, considering taking my life around, I think it was the 8th of May, going to therapy, uh, being off work because I haven't worked since May of last year. And my therapist wanting me to journal, well, kind of like you, my mind, there's so many things going through my head. I think as part of, my mental health issues that I've had difficulty focusing or concentrating. So it was hard for me to sit down long enough to write out my thoughts. So I just said, well, let me just start recording them, recording them as a video diary. But as I'm doing that, I'm like, well, hey, and I think it was around the time that Naomi Osaka and then Simone Biles, all these different high profile people were having issues with mental health. And I said, well, maybe while I'm helping myself, I can help somebody else too. And then to your point, people starting to really want to hear what I have to say and making it, because I'm going to ask you this. And the reason I'm going to ask you this, because a friend of mine talked to me earlier. When you are a high performer, a high achiever, it is very difficult to say or to accept that maybe I need to take a step back because I'm not performing at this level that I'm used to performing at. And then that's added pressure because you know what you're capable of, because you have so much going on in that head that you can't you just can't quite get there, even though you're trying, but you can't quite get there because there's so many external things going on, and there could be some internal things going on. And as
Right.
it was with me, and it's difficult if you're a high achiever to admit to yourself, well, gosh, I'm not able to get there. Did you have that challenge?
Yeah. That challenge was more so based on what I would consider family pressures.
Okay.
All of my uncles are doctors. All of the males of my family are physicians. The aunts are either nurses. I'm nurse practitioners or married to doctors. And one of my uncles ran Johns Hopkins. Another ran USC Medical School. Another one is currently the head dean and medical officer at University of Miami. Another one run St. Barnabas Hospital in Bronx. Literally all high achieving doctors. When they had the earthquake in Haiti in 2010, one of my uncles, he was the one on the USS Vincent, the ship that was conducting the surgery on the girl that had the stone in her head. That Sanjay Gupta from CNN was actually performing, and my uncle was the one he was the chief neurosurgeon overseeing the surgery. So, and they talk about the Ford. My family name is Ford, and they talked about the Ford brothers that went. All three doctors went back to Haiti to help and assist with everything, the repair and all of that, and the medical attention needed in Haiti. So, with that being said, I was supposed to go into medicine. That was the family business. So, in essence, I'm a rebel.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I was supposed to go into medicine. So, me venturing into the music industry and having the success that I had, and then still being able to come back to a family event. And now I got my uncles that's there, they're doctors, and then they see me. I'm 19 years old, and you know what I mean? I'm making 120 something grand, as a 19-year-old, and I'm sending their kids tickets to shows. And watch this. I have,
Okay.
my gold and platinum record plaques. So you understand the pressure. I would send them to my family members. So one is at my mom's house, one is at this uncle's house, because I wanted the family to see that I was doing it, that I was proud because of the pressure that I had.
Mm-hmm.
So I think those pressures as well, those pressures as well were the things that made me perform at a higher level at whatever I was doing outside of the family business, to the point where I have a bunch of plaques, right? This is the one that I keep with me because this was my first. This, you can't really see it, and it's the 45. This was Michael Jackson. Remember the time.
What?
Okay,
What?
so you can see it. You see
Oh my
Guy
God.
Ford. Of course, my name is Guy Ford. Remember the time. That was my first plaque. That's the one that I kept. I got plaques at my mom's house, my dad's house, my cousin's house. And this is just to speak to the pressure. It was like I wanted them to know this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing. And then one of the
Mm-hmm.
things that hurt me the most was I was making the money and I was telling my uncles, like, yeah, see, I made it. And they're like, 100 grand is nothing, man. So it was pressure. I'm not gonna lie, it was pressure. I was the rebel. Their kids were rooting for me, but the upper generation was like, man, what the hell is this guy doing? There was one point where one of my uncles popped up in the office one day. I had an office assistant and everything, and it was weird. He came through. I took him to lunch. We hung out with one of my artists, and then the next day I was like, "Yo, that was so weird. You came through." He was like, "Man, listen, I just, your mom was worried about you. You're 19, man, and getting money. She wanted to make sure that you weren't being taken advantage of by some FAGs." That was the word he used back then. You get what I'm saying?
PG. Okay.
You understand the alphabet. He's like, yeah, she just wanted me to go down there to make sure that you weren't getting, used up, used up by some industry alphabets. But he was
Yes.
like, nah, this is real. So I said all of that long-winded stuff to say pressure busts pipes. So I can't blame it all on my greatness. I think I blame it on the fact that I had something to prove to my family.
Well, I understand that, and in as much as I definitely didn't have that kind of pressure, um, some of the pressure I think I had, I put on myself because I felt like, as the oldest in my family, and of my, because it's just me and my sister, and the oldest, I felt like it was my responsibility to make it, if that makes any sense. Because my mom was a single mom, my sister, was younger. I felt that I had to make it, and especially as my grandfather was getting older, and I'm the first grandchild. I felt like it was my responsibility to make sure that I could take on whatever the family needed, even though no one ever asked me to do that. But I felt like that I needed to be in that position. So and then kind of like what, I wasn't the rebel, but I was always a person. The moment you tell me I can't do something, I'm gonna prove you wrong. So I always put that added pressure on myself. And again, when you're going back from, a teenager all the way up, and especially getting in the military as a female officer, and I'm like, oh, you say I can't? Well, we're gonna see about that. So, but again, when you do that, you always have to live up to that, or you feel that you do. And the moment that you think you can't, or you find a little crack in the, it's a lot. And I think that is one of the things that started to weigh on me last year. And as I share with you, about my domestic violence situation, that really, I think, was the tipping point of my mental health break, if you will, that I couldn't quite reach the level of excellence that I was before that. And because I couldn't quite meet it, I kept putting added pressure on myself because I couldn't do it. So I got to a breaking point, and that breaking point was last May, when I considered, walking out in traffic. You know, but I'm grateful that I didn't. And I talk about this because May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And millions of people suffer from it, whether they're formally diagnosed or not. They suffer from it. So I think even as a man, being able to talk about what you were dealing with, and again, you kept, you know, plugging in, and thank God your manager saw something, because he knew what you was capable of and said something's not quite right here. And that he cared enough about you to, tap you on the shoulder. Hey, I noticed something, because there are some people that'll just wear you down. They don't give a damn, as you know this.
Without question. So it's being able to appreciate that as well. But I want to just kind of not really push back.
Okay.
I just want to do a perspective back.
Okay.
A lot of times when you have a want to do a certain thing and it doesn't happen the way that you want it to happen, or you start to get that feeling, it wasn't necessarily supposed to happen the first time or third time. Maybe it was something supposed to happen the eighth or ninth time, right? But here's the kicker. It's the stuff that you learned on the fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh try which are going to be the things that actually change the whole trajectory of your thinking and how you approach life. Because after the fourth try is where you start to build that callus, build that gumption, build that understanding of failure, and knowing, okay, I took that punch, so I know how to take a punch. The fifth step, the fifth try, is going to give you something else that you were supposed to learn that was pivotal enough. So in terms of you not getting to where you needed to go, sometimes it was that thing you wanted being pulled further away from you that gave you more gasoline to go further to it. And what happens is you appreciate it much more. It's we in terms of we get wins. You get wins. Wins give you the adrenaline. It's the dopamine. It's a drug. You feel numb. You feel high. You feel drunk with the happiness.
Right.
But when you take a L, the beginning of L is a lesson. You're
Work.
learning. You burn your hand on the stove. You're gonna remember that, ain't you? You get what I'm saying? And I think that some of the parts where we commandeer our destiny and our purpose is through those failures, understanding our strengths and inherent, Achilles heels. And those are the things, those L's that you take, because man, I ain't never finna do that again. Nah, man, that hurt. I'm not letting that happen. Ain't nobody finna do that to me. That's a certain level of strength that you build from that and a learning experience, because you pay more attention. You lose money. You had a bad situation. You're going to look at every little step that you took like, damn, if I would have just stayed my ass at home. Oh, man, if I didn't say this, down to the millisecond.
Yep.
Learning is the lesson. You get me? You ever end up being in a situation where you're like, damn it, I spent all this money. Now you're going to think about every spare nickel that you wasted for the last week or so because you're down to no money. That's the lesson. Every single person that owe you $1 since 1978, you're going to remember that. So I think it's about being able to appreciate those lessons, or what they call those universal ass whippings.
Okay. Check this out. You don't went there, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead and have to piggyback on that. You just made me think about something. I don't know if you can see. Let me see this. Well, it's a picture. Let's see, I pull it down. This picture is me and my baby girl.
Danny.
See that?
Yeah.
Me and my baby girl. The reason why I show you that picture,
peace to Danny.
I wanted to be an officer in the military. I knew that I wanted to be an officer in the military in 1987. And I don't know if anybody who's in the chat who knows what it is, what it means to be a commissioned officer in the military. But there you have several different avenues that you can get your commission as a commissioned officer. But what's interesting, to your point about the lesson, the first time I tried to become a commissioned officer, it was 1987. But because I had a misdemeanor charge on my record because I had gone to jail for stealing $20 from my employer.
Oh, man.
That messed, I didn't get the waiver, so I couldn't do it. The second time was like 2 years later, maybe 1989, 1990. Still didn't get it. Third time I tried to become an officer, now all this is before I had my daughter, was 1993, 92, 93. But I met her dad, fell in love, got pregnant, so I had to drop out, right? Fourth time, it took me 4 tries over 10 years before I got my commission as an officer. And by the time I got it, I was a single mother. My daughter was 3 years old. I was working 2 jobs, and I was in graduate school. But to the point that you made, when they put those bars on my collar, I appreciated it so much more than I probably ever would have appreciated the 3 prior times, because I knew what it cost to get it.
That's dope. I mean, so you literally sang that same song with your voice. Exactly. Like that's the thing that I'm talking about. And then you fully understand sometimes that failure, it's a humanizing thing. Mm-hmm. It's a humanizing thing. It brings you down to speed. Failure is important. Failure is one of the things that grounds us. Failure is one of the things that shows our mortality. Side note, back in the 90s, Kanye, people used to say, yo, people want to know, why are you so arrogant? Why are you so arrogant? I don't understand. He was so lucid enough to say, I don't know. You know what I think it is? It's the fact that every single thing that I say I'm going to do, I end up doing. And I don't know. It's just, I believe myself. So what's happened is, in everything, remember, you don't have all the answers, Sway. And he ended up being right, and Sway was wrong. That creates a certain level of not dementia, but psychosis, because I'm a human being. I'm a human being with every single thing I say I'm going to do. Even years before I meet this woman named Kim, I tell people I'm going to marry her and have children with her before she even knows me. And it happens. I'm going to be a billionaire. I'm going to be so pivotal in terms of fashion, all of these different things. But what we did not get to see was the humanizing failure. And unfortunately, that took place with the loss of, Dr. West, Dr. Donda West, rest in peace. And then you started to see things somehow unravel. And I would never wish failure on a brother. All I'm just stating, and call it from my non-scientific, hypothesis, I believe that the lack of failure, the lack of that grounding of failure, led to some of where his mental state is right now. You get what I'm saying? Because failure can tend to ground you. That's why even in business, they tell you fail and fail fast. Fail and fail fast. Because that's how you're gonna learn early what not to do. Fail on the $50 so you don't fail on the 50,000.
That's it. So since we talk about that, and Els, what, if anything, have you learned? Let's take it back to this YouTube thing. What, if anything, have you learned with respect to, being grounded, Els, wins, being in this YouTube space? Because I've got to tell you, I had no idea that YouTube was such a community when I started this thing a year ago. I had no idea.
Yeah. To truly give the essence of how I started in this thing, I started in this, if it was not for, rest in peace to your schoolmate, Brother Samuels, I wouldn't be a content creator. I started watching Average Best, and then, paying attention to different shows, and it even created a level of sonic vibration within my relationship where we were able to have discussions where I didn't think, oh, you're just being a this or that. Oh, there's a term for this. Oh, masculine energy. Oh, and then, or being in our purpose. And it created a vernacular where we could literally articulate conversations. And then one day, my lady was like, man, I was watching that Kevin Samuels guy. I'm not going to lie. Man, I'm sorry. I'm paying attention to some of what he's saying, and it really makes sense. And I can see this and that. It created conversations. And then this crazy little manipulative algorithm whips me around to mediocre tutorials, Poor Man's Podcast, then Lapeef Network,
Yeah.
And then that's how I came into this thing. So I didn't know that it was a community either. I was just riding the wave. These streets are treacherous.
Okay.
I've seen a lot outside of these YouTube streets. I've been shot, stabbed. I've been, you know what I mean? I lived a life, right? And I will say this. It ain't as bad as the real streets. But I've seen that people have been harmed. People have been emotionally harmed. People have been threatened. I see some of the most negative, nasty, vile type of behavior that's taken place.
Yes.
To people that don't deserve it. I see this place as a place where some people, because of the veil of anonymity and the buffer of a screen and digital, so there is no reach out and touch. I think that it's given some folks a license to step outside of their real square in order to play certain games that can harm other folks. The doxing, the threats, the BS exposés, all of these different things. I sincerely believe that it's crazy. I've been blessed where I will say it hasn't happened to me as much as it's happened to other folks. There's a couple times certain things happen and I was living, but
me too.
Yeah, but I don't, you know what I mean? I don't want to give those the negative wind. too much air. You feel me? I don't want to give them too much oxygen, but for the most part, for me personally, I've benefited more than I've lost. You know, there's people that I met in terms of me being genuine and authentic. There's people that I connected with where even if I was not a content creator and I stopped this thing tomorrow, I would still go and break bread with them. I was still
that part.
You know what I'm saying? I was still E-Black quit tomorrow. I quit this thing tomorrow. I would still be over at the crib making lobsters, kicking it, or sleeping on his couch with his damn dog trying to hump my face. Piece to Tink. Nasty little doggy. But anyway, long story. But, you know, kicking it with him and the family, you know, even kicking it with you. Man, you are freaking tall. I was like, we walked into the spot and then somebody tapped my shoulder and I'm looking like, yo, who's this tall lady? I ain't trying to get in trouble tonight. I'm like, oh snap. You know, it was like you, Courtney, Michelle, Anton, Sharita, all of the different people, you know, Victor Freeze Music, who's one of the co-hosts of my show. He done stayed at my crib, you know. I've gained Rilla, you know, there's people that I've built some relationships and communication with. Danique Anthony, there's people that can call me at any time of the night. Andrea, you know, she's one of the members of my show. We have a team. It's called The Team with Victor Freeze, myself, and Andrea. You know, and that's one of the formats for one of the shows we're doing called The Team Presents.
Okay.
So out of this YouTube thing, I would be lying if I said that I got less positive than I did. I have more positive than negative experiences, right. and they keep going. The Uncle Stews, yes. the people like you, the ones when things are going on and the heat is on, where out of nowhere will just send me a text message or send me a DM like, Chef, breathe. You got this, Chef. Don't let them do it to you. Yo, we support you, Chef. Cats like Mr. O is just living. Yo, Chef, I got nothing but love for you, bro. You good. You know, that's what I get. And that's the thing that I appreciate. So like I said, I would be lying to you if I said that this was a hurtful experience. I did hurt for what I saw happening with certain people, you know, and I stepped in certain situations, but I also went to console people in other situations and make sure they were right and to let them know, you know, that it's okay. These streets need you. And if you out there, you know what I'm talking about. And if a couple of y'all out there is like, look, man, these YouTube streets need you. All of that was wrong. But don't worry, they coming at you like that because you're that great. Don't worry, you got this. And, you know, that's my approach.
Right back at you. And here's the thing, to that point, you're absolutely right. There have been some moments, but by far more positive than negative. And it is those moments when people reach out to me offline and, you know, ask my opinion and I give my opinion and I give, you know, I'm transparent because again, you know, I don't just want to talk about it, I want to be about it and understanding I made some mistakes in these 55, you know, I'm double nickel now in these 55 years to include, you know, relationship mistakes, you know, mistakes raising my daughter and different things. But to say that you can turn it around, but you got to be self-aware. You got to go ahead and dig deep and say, okay, and own your shit. You know, I don't profess to be something that I'm not. I am a flawed individual who has been given grace, and I try to extend that as well. Gosh, there's something else I can't remember, but to that point, and Mr. Randolph keeps me grounded too because the moment that he feels it getting too much, he will pull the plug on it. So he was like, you know, he says, "This is still a hobby, right?" Yes, sir. You're muted.
That reminds me of E-Black. And what's funny is that reminds me literally of E-Black because there was one point where E-Black started getting the cooking on that 30 for 30, you know, and he hit around 7 or 8. And he was like, and this, to me, that was the most beautiful thing. I don't even think people understand. especially the relationship he has with his wife. It's so beautiful because it was like, look, y'all, I know I'm cooking. I know y'all enjoying this. But my wife, I think she's starting to like it a little too much at this point. So in terms of for her, because I don't want her to be a part of this, she wasn't really seeing a lot of the stuff going on. So because I care about her temperament, I'm gonna pull back. You know, I want to make that being protective of your mate and your spouse, but being understanding, not just protecting them from some overt threat, but the inert threat, the one that you don't notice. You know, that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing, being able to have that eye to see, oh, okay, she's getting into this now. You know, he want to make sure his wife doesn't get to taste the blood. so
Yeah.
so that was a brilliant thing that he did, because he wanted to make sure that he did not lose you to this fifth estate, you know.
Yeah. And I'm grateful for that. And ladies too, to that point, when you want someone that is a covering, sometimes they are going to protect you from yourself. And I'm glad, because again, my husband don't talk much, but he pays attention to everything. And when he asks a question, he pretty much is already he's asking the question, but he knows the answer, and it's to make sure that I understand. So when he says there's still a hobby, right? Basically, that's reminding me, this is a hobby, right? So
Hey, don't be getting all wrapped up in this thing now. Uh-oh, wait, don't say anything yet. You're catching a little freeze right now.
And
You're cooking on freeze.
Am I freeze?
Okay, now you're good. You're good.
Okay. Because again, when I started this thing, is to be therapeutic for my mental health. So I'm not going to exchange one for the other.
Right.
I'm not doing that. And that is why I am, and you can easily get pulled in, because I've had to tell Uncle Stu, bruh, pull back, fall back, rest. I don't give a damn about an algorithm. Fall back,
Yeah.
live your life, enjoy it.
Yo, I love that dude.
Me
I love
too.
that dude. He's that dude. Both my grandfathers were reverends, you know. One of my grandfathers, my last grandfather, he passed away in October at 104, right? But both of them were, yeah. So I grew up in the church. And the thing is, Uncle Stu is not a pastor, but it's like his ministry and the way he moves like a pastor. He moves like a dude that's supposed to be a pastor, but he wants to do a talk show. But then the thing is, every time he'll put something out, and maybe it's just me, where it's like, yo, I literally hit him up like, yo, man, God puts people in front of us for some reason. Every single time you come with one of these things that you give, it's like, yo, it touched me in a way where I needed it. You know, he did that thing where he said, how can you love God in the midst of this? Man, how can you love God in the midst of this? Man, that one right there, that thing got me choked up. And I just happened to hit him up that morning just to show love. And that love that I showed made him feel good, because he was in a dark place, because he had let me know that someone disrespected the effigy of his child. Right.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? I don't want to give too much oxygen to the thing, but
We know what you're talking about.
it was, yeah, yo, and it was like, that hurt me. I jumped out the window and did a whole stream that night, which kind of lit things up, because I was like, him. And it wasn't no D riding like people say. Nah, just this man's presence alone and his words when they hit my ear was at the time when I needed it. So I don't care about what you think or you think or you think. At this point, I've needed him. He's helped me, and I need him, and I'm going to treat him like that he must be protected. And I jumped out the window and I said what I said. I said that whole thing about the advisor class, the actor class, the audience class, and I made it clear what my stance was. Yeah, I could be long-winded, but I'll be honest with you. I could be an a-hole. Everybody that knows me is like, yo, you talk differently on YouTube. Like, you talk slower. You're more measured. My cousin was like, yo, you the scariest and smartest dude I know in my whole life, yo. It's like, you talk slow. I was like, man, first of all, I still have, corporate social media guidelines to adhere to, right? But then not only that, I said that this is on wax. So, I tend to parse my words because there's people that will listen to you.
Right.
So why you talk so slow? People will listen to you. Somebody like Uncle Stu, man, he drops his stuff, and I need to hear what he has to say. So he should be protected. People like you bring a certain clarity to the room that others can't. You bring a certain clarity to even when you're not trying. We happen to be at an event together, and then KS came up in conversation. And remember, we both were on stage at that.
Right.
And then
Right.
you were the person in the room that actually knew him, that could actually bring some clarity, So y'all too, the two of you guys are extremely important to this ecosystem. You guys are extremely important. I'm giving you your flowers. You're extremely important to the ecosystem. I think it's important for you to continue to speak the way you speak and share your feelings and keep your stance, and also show the sisters, that you can be effeminate, you can be soft, you can still be a soldier for your husband. You could be the queen to his slim, but by the same token, have that level of balance. It's a good thing. Just keep doing what you're doing. Don't let these streets say anything. We need you out here. Real talk.
Well, I appreciate you. And I got to say, I'm so happy that I went to the Houston thing because I went down there to meet Rilla and Courtney. And I knew it was so great seeing people. And I tell you, an unexpected surprise, an unexpected pleasure was several people who I didn't know came to me and said how much they appreciated my content. I'm like, wow, thanks.
You were, without even saying the elder, I don't use the elder statesman, but not even age-wise, but you were like, it was like, oh snap, OG Terry in the spot. Like you were a celebrity there within your own right. And it was what was so dope is that it was like a warm feeling, like, oh man. It was, look, you see my voice went up. Oh man. Yeah, that was dope,
It was a good time. It was a good time, and I'm so glad I made that drive. And I asked Mr. Randolph. I said, Mr. Randolph, I said, honey, I really want to go down there and meet some people that I've been, that I've adopted into my YouTube family. He said, go ahead, go ahead. I said, but I'll be home on Sunday. I got to see my baby before you go back out on that road. So I did it.
That's dope. That's dope.
We've almost been doing 2 hours. I'm not going to keep you. So tell us as we wrap up. And first of all, I want to thank you for gracing me and coming on. And I know I've learned so much about you. I'm like, whoa. So the shoes will be ready when?
So the shoes were going to be early June. So when I say early June, I'm talking about within the first trimester of June, which is, I'd say, sometime before June 11th. So
Okay.
I'll give you that. But stay tuned. I'm going to actually put it on a community wall. I'm going to upload something as well to advertise it. And I'm also going to be putting it across all my social media.
Oh, I'm going to buy me some. I might buy my daughter some too because her birthday's in June. E Black said, I ain't going to lie. I was shocked. Shocked because I was tall. What? Because I saw y'all from across the way when y'all came in. I'm like, oh, that's E Black and Chef.
I'm telling y'all, don't sleep. Wait, first and foremost, disclaimer, we love you. We love you, Brother Randolph. We love you. But y'all, these YouTube cameras, let me tell you, they ain't doing the sister justice. I'm just saying, all right, Mr. Randolph, he's a better man than me, because your ass would have been staying home. I'm just saying.
Thank you.
No,
I tried to get together for an old lady. You understand me?
Like, no. You sit over there, you watch them on the laptop. Okay? You think I'm stupid. No.
Okay, he said he was a person I was. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You too kind. Hey, look, I gotta keep this thing together. Because even though I said I'm not competing, I'm competing. You understand me?
Hey.
I want the yummy look from Mr. Randolph every time he comes. You understand me? I want the yummy look.
That's the look. It's like there's one look is like this, is like, and the other one is like this. Come here, gal.
Okay. Mr. Randolph, if you're listening, because he might be mad at me, but I'm gonna go ahead and share it. Last time we were getting ready to go to dinner, I put got gussied up, and he came and he said, "You trying to get pregnant tonight, ain't you?"
Bang bang.
He said, "You trying to get pregnant?"
I know that talk. Look, I know that talk. When he talking that talk, he's saying the pull-up game is strong, but the pull-out game is weak. My guy, Mr. R.
Oh my goodness, this has been fun. Chef,
yes.
As we close, last words, my friend.
Listen, y'all, I'm still learning. I'm still learning how to do this. I'm still more regular dude than I am YouTuber. So if I'm making mistakes and I'm doing this thing wrong, my descriptions don't look right, or I'm not doing the right tags, I take feedback. I take help. I'm still learning this thing. I think what's just really important is that I don't change myself too much for the production value. That's something I got to learn. So all I ask is that y'all work with me, but just know what I'm bringing to the table is authentic, and I would never try to feed you any kind of BS. So I'm a work in progress. Holla at your boy. You know how to hit me. And I'm here. Just you guys are shooting with me while I'm in the gym. So like I said, you guys that follow me, that support me, I pray that I can continue to do whatever I need to do in order to continue to earn your support. All I ask is that you keep a brother honest. That's all I got.
Well, thank you, Chef. I'm gonna drop you down, but don't go anywhere, okay?
No worries, you good. Peace, y'all.
All right. Okay. Whew, this has been fun. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I learned so much about this young man. I'm getting me some of them shoes. Straight up, no chaser. I have to start saving my coinage. Maybe I can use some of my AdSense money to get me to get me some of these shoes. I'm getting me some straight up. So I'm gonna be looking. Thank you all for supporting me. Thank you for being on this ride with me for the last year. And like Chef said, I'm just a regular person. Thank God that my husband supported me so I could retire and be a grandmother and be a wife and do this, a surrogate auntie. And to that point, as a grandmother, guess what else I got for my birthday? The day before my birthday, my little Tinky took her first steps. She's walking. I can't stand it. But anyway, my granddaughter took her first steps. So the day before my birthday. So I'm really excited. But I'm just a regular person. And I pray that I stay myself. And again, that's holding for those who come to know me on a personal level, hold me accountable. Y'all, I can be growed. I can be growed real. And my daughter's gonna keep me grounded too, because she's like, Mom, I'm beginning to think this YouTube thing is an obsession. Every time I call you, you're like either on somebody's panel or you're going live. I'm like, no, I have boundaries. So my daughter's keeping me grounded too. Again, to the point that we spoke about earlier, mental health. For anybody that is experiencing some challenges, and it may not necessarily be a diagnosed mental illness, but you just might be in a slump and you feel like, hey, something just ain't right. I need need to talk to somebody, or I need a break, listen to yourself. Pay attention to yourself. Yes, the work has to get done, but check it out. If something were to happen to you, the work would still get done. Okay? The work will still get done. No one's going to care more about you than you and those who love you. So, with that, I thank you again. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for, if you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button on your way out. And until next time, we're going to be out. So, ciao for now. And again, thanks again for joining me.